Since I've been posting a lot of the workouts that I do with Rae, I've noticed a lot of you guys have been asking what specific exercises are okay and are not okay. And I thought instead of me answering them, someone who doesn't know anything, I would bring an expert in. Personally, I feel like there's a lot of fear surrounding pregnancy and exercise, so I'm really excited to ask Rae some of your guys' questions from Instagram stories. So the first question that we got was, how much is too much when it comes to exercise, specifically trimester by trimester?
Yeah, so I've noticed that we get that question a lot as well. And the thing about that is it's really going to depend. It's really dependent on what that person was doing before they got pregnant and how they're used to working out. Like you said, it's really dependent on the trimester. And even it can be really dependent on how they're feeling, that day. So it can depend on, maybe how you woke up, if you were feeling nauseous or dizzy or something like that. So really what it breaks down to is that you need to listen to your body. So with somebody like Monique, I've trained Monique since before she was pregnant. And I've seen this girl kick ass in some workouts. So I know what she can handle and what's going to more so keep her satisfied as somebody who really enjoys exercise. So Monique is used to lifting weights, she's used to working really hard. That might not be a form of exercise that I might introduce to somebody who has never worked out before with weights or who has only ever stuck to Pilates and yoga. So it's really gonna depend, how much is too much is gonna depend on what you used to before. Trimester by trimester, in your first trimester, you're gonna be able to do a lot of things that you were able to do when you weren't pregnant. And then as your belly grows, as your center of gravity shifts, that's going to change. And suddenly maybe we have to make some different variations in your movements, change the weights, change the intensity. So how much is too much is going to depend on you and only you.
Yeah.
It might be different every single day. It's always, always, always gonna come back to listening to your body. And if you're working with a trainer, it's gonna come back to your trainer listening to you.
Yeah, that is so important. And I know that we have had to adjust movements along the way too, because even if it is safe for me to do right now, sometimes my belly just doesn't feel good or it feels big or whatever. And
Absolutely.
I think being a voice for yourself is very, very important. So don't be afraid to speak up. The next question that we got, and I always pronounce this wrong, you guys, is how to prevent diastasis recti.
Yeah.
Did I say it right? Okay.
Yeah, so again, this is big, scary word that people get really concerned about. So if you don't know what diastasis recti is the separation of the abdominal wall. What you need to know is that this is totally normal and it can and probably will happen. Usually this happens towards the end of your third trimester. And what you need to know is, yes, it's normal, and yes, it's perfectly treatable. With that said, there are certain exercises that can exacerbate that problem, and that I do believe that you should steer clear from. In my opinion, this is gonna be things like crunches or sit-ups. If you're already seeing signs of diastasis recti, so that separation, and signs of that might be the line that's going down your stomach is more than 2 fingers width apart. Things like front-loaded exercises aren't gonna be great. So things like planks or push-ups when your belly is straight down. So those things can be avoided completely, or you can just do something to make those things more comfortable. There are things that can help prevent it or help to treat it once you've had your baby. And those things can be as simple as learning diaphragmatic breathing, learning how to breathe properly, learning proper alignment and proper posture. And then there are certain core exercises that you should focus on more than others that are gonna help to keep your core stable and safe and help to prevent as much as you can that diastasis recti.
Yeah, and what I have learned from training with Rae as well is that every time before we start working out, we always do breathing exercises, which I would have never thought about, but I didn't realize how important breathing truly is to just the pelvic floor and your core and everything like that. So that's been really great for me to learn as well. Okay, next question, and this is kind of going on to the last one, is just what core exercises are safe to do, you know, would you recommend, don't do, all those things.
Yeah. So again, I know everybody probably is so sick of this answer. Trimester dependent and how your body is feeling dependent. Always, 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 always. There is, you know, some things on like a no-fly list. So like I was saying before, sit-ups and crunches, not my favorite. Anything where you're bending or twisting, also not my favorite. Things where you're jumping, so like plyometrics and even sometimes running can also exacerbate that problem and make that worse. So those are things that I'm not particularly comfortable with having my pregnant clients do. But also, a lot of those things aren't things that I would have my non-pregnant clients do as well. There's just safer, better ways to train your core. Things like front-loaded exercises that we talked about, so planks, push-ups where you're like horizontal to the ground, those are like a maybe. So that's like, how are you feeling today? Is there too much pressure? That's something that needs to be talked about. Something like lying on your back for extended periods of time, that is a thought that used to be like, no way for pregnant women. That research has sort of, you know, moved on from there. And again, that's a maybe. That's a how are you feeling? Do we need to prop you up on your elbows or something like that? Things that are gonna be good for you to do are things that are gonna focus on resisting the urge to rotate your core, resisting the urge to let your core bend side to side, or for your ribs to flare and your lower back to extend, or to have those things rounded in that opposite way, or to just be able to not keep your spine neutral in general. So the things that are gonna be good for your core are things that keep your core stable and upright and aligned. And maybe that doesn't sound flashy, but there's plenty of really difficult and fun core exercises that you can do that are gonna focus on those things.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think especially just training, doing some of the same exercises that I've always done, I notice much more now that I'm pregnant how activated my core is.
That's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, right. Whereas before, I don't think I was thinking about my core as much, but you really like realize how much it's working.
Yeah, what really is your core to begin with.
Exactly. Totally. So can you speak to some of the exercises? Like we get a lot of questions about jumping and burpees and the cardio, you know, women who run and things like that. Like what is okay and not okay? Again, it's probably dependent on the person, but in general, what should women try to stay away from when they're pregnant?
Yeah, so when it comes to intensity, the thing is that the benefits of what we're doing need to outweigh the risk. So we always need to make sure that what we're doing is, fun and exciting for the client, but you want it to have a beneficial factor to it. So when you're programming intensity and getting your heart rate up a lot, it has to be with a purpose and it has to be safe first and foremost. It was in the past this old school thought that you couldn't get your heart rate up past 140 beats per minute. That's sort of been, you know, proven wrong. But again, if you're working out and your heart rate is above 140 beats per minute and you start to feel dizzy or, you know, you need to sit down, you're too out of breath, then that's bad. You don't want that. So that's where we come back to, you really need to listen to your body for that. So intensity is totally gonna depend. In general, you know, I wanna make sure that Monique is feeling it, that she is slightly breathless if we're doing something with a little higher intensity, but she should maintain like a 7, I would say, a 7 out of 10. So she's not dying and you're not bored, but you're feeling it. So we sort of wanna live in that 7 zone where you're a little bit breathless, you can still have a conversation, you might need a break here and there. So to add intensity into your workouts, you should, instead of, focusing on super hard sprints or box jumps or these things that might not be safe, what I like to do and what we do a lot is things like supersets. So putting one strength-based exercise directly after another strength-based exercise and going back and forth. So there's minimal rest, but we're doing more controlled, slower, strength-based movements.
And breathing is, incorporated so much more into that. And every time I'm doing those supersets, I'm thinking about going into labor and what that process is going to be like. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like contractions. Yeah, it is intense. So
yeah. So there's ways of adding intensity into your workouts that doesn't need to be like driving yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
You can do it safely and still, get a good sweat.
Yeah, I love that. And above all, you guys, I think too, if you still feel uncomfortable and you're trying to listen to your body, but you're not sure, don't be afraid to seek out a resource who can help you. Somebody who is trained like Rae and certified in prenatal exercise. I think that's really important. I know that I've personally gone to group fitness classes and they don't necessarily know how to cue me to modify things. So it is important that you do use some of the movements that are pregnancy safe. And you can refer back to the videos that we are doing together, which is awesome for core, upper body, lower body, if you need to make modifications in your exercise routine.
Absolutely.
So anything else you want to add?
I think the only other thing that I want to add is that if you're pregnant and you're looking to exercise, I don't want you to be driven by fear. Know that you are still able to do lots and lots of things, and I encourage you to do those things. Listen to your body, work with control. It's only going to benefit you in the end.
Love it. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and Rae will pop in and try to answer them. And don't forget to follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
All of her channels, Ladies Who Lift. What is your other ones?
Sailor Rae.
Yeah, Sailor Rae. We'll link it. Okay, you guys, we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.